Good evening, everyone. If you can hear my voice, please give me a wave or a high sign.
Good evening, Mayor.
Thank you, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome, everyone, to the Board of Aldermen meeting for the City of Town and Country, Monday, April 12, 2021. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of the United States of America,
to the
and to
republic
the republic for which
which
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome again. The meeting's hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Allen,
Here.
Alderman Bennegus,
Here.
Alderman Fauci,
Here.
Alderman Holman,
Here.
Alderman Hughes,
Here.
Alderman Mortland,
Here.
Alderman Weethahan,
Here.
and Alderman Whitmire.
Here.
Mayor Dalton is presiding, and we do have a quorum via video conference.
Thank you. The minutes from our meeting of March 22nd have been previously distributed to and considered by the board. I'll now entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Hughes moves approval, seconded by Alderman Mortland. Discussion? Seeing none, those minutes will stand approved as written and distributed. We're on the topic of hearing from citizens. This is the opportunity for those in the community and beyond to bring issues of interest or concern to us. It was a whole lot more enjoyable when we were all together in council chambers, where that is not our circumstance today, but we still afford people the opportunity to identify themselves and to raise issues of interest to the city, and we're always better off for considering them. Madam Clerk, do we have any indications of interest by people wishing to address the board?
Yes, sir. I have no comments to enter into the record, but we do have former Alderman Lindsay Butler with us tonight. So Mrs. Butler, if you could just state your name and address for the record. Your 3 minutes will begin when you're ready, and a bell will sound when that time has lapsed.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm Lindsay Butler. I live at 13310 Kings Glen Drive here in Town and Country. I just wanted to stop in real quickly, since I know one of the agenda items pertains to a private audit, or really an organizational assessment that the board is considering. But I wanted to give you some information that you might find helpful, and to let you know an update on the petition audit that I was acting as the chief petitioner, because you just have to have one person to put their name down. But I wanted to give you an update on that. So we are officially done. We've been certified. So we collected over 1,000 signatures. Those were certified today. The city of Town and Country will get their letter stating this certification and stating that the audit is an active audit, either this week or early next week. And it will also give you the audit date, which we were told face-to-face when we submitted probably a month and a half ago, that it was looking towards the early part of the summer. So they actually moved very quickly. I believe the date that the gentleman gave at the beginning was in June, but we'll see, and the letter will state that, and it will come directly to the city administrator or the city clerk. So be looking for that. Just wanted to kind of let you guys know that it was a lot easier process than I thought. So we had ended up having about 21 volunteers that were active in the petition, going door to door, emailing and calling friends. We had several citizens of their own accord print up yard signs, that a different citizen that printed out letters. So it was very much a grassroots, unorganized, not a committee kind of thing. So I want to thank those of you that actually just let us be citizens and listen to our voice and let us be heard. So you will be seeing this on the news, because Elliot Davis was very adamant about wanting to see this if we had made it through the certification process, which we have. So just wanted to update everyone here. We did have a huge bump after the resolution that stated that people were asking people to remove their names. We did have about 200 in 1 week that came forward and wanted to sign. So it was pretty amazing. But just wanted to let you guys know, because I know we have several new board members. We're going to have a new mayor, and you guys will be undertaking a citywide audit with the state auditor, Nicole Galloway. So I'm very excited. And I wanted to thank those of you who just really let us be citizens and let us be heard. So just wanted to give you an update before you guys, it might affect some of the money that you're wanting to spend tonight pertaining to a different audit. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Butler. You are welcome to be a citizen in this town anytime you want. You don't need this collection of people's support for doing so. You were very passionate about this. I applaud you and your excitement for this effort, and 1,000 signatures is a lot of signatures. So it looks like you and your those supporting the effort will get their audit, and I wish you all the best. Madam Clerk, is there anything else, any others interested in addressing the board?
That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. We are on the topic of public hearings, and the first public hearing we have is to review a request from Nick Hamilton, who's the owner, for approval of a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a pool, located at 13715 Bellcrest Court in the Suburban Estate Zoning District. I declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing published in the St. Louis County on March 26, 2021. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing posted at the municipal center and on the subject property and mailed to property owners within 300 feet of subject property with a list of those owners attached. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2115.
Thank you. We have Mr. Nick Hamilton and Mark Trudeau. Gentlemen, are you with us?
Yes.
I'm working from a small screen. There you are. I see you both. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for your participation in tonight's meeting. It's very helpful to us. I understand that you do not have a formal presentation, but you're appearing this evening to address any questions the board may have. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Thank you. The floor is open for inquiry. Alderman Fauci.
Not so much an inquiry, but just for purposes of the record, I did want to note that this project did pass planning and zoning unanimously. I also wanted to note for the record that I spoke today to the neighbor directly to the, I guess it's west. This is lot 1. I spoke to the owner of lot 2 and 3. They are fully in support of this project. They really like the plans and are excited to have them proceed. So I wanted to just put that into the record that the neighboring property owners are in favor.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any inquiry of our representatives this evening?
No.
Seeing none. Madam Clerk, any public comments?
No, sir, none were submitted for this item.
Thank you. I declare that public hearing closed. The next matter on our agenda is also a public hearing. It's to review a request from Rob Rehnquist of Rehnquist Design and Build on behalf of Thomas and Jennifer Hogan. They are the owners, for approval of a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a garage/pool house located at 13659 Mason Heights Road in the Suburban Estate Zoning District. I declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing published in the St. Louis County on March 26, 2021. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing posted at the municipal center and on the subject property and mailed to property owners within 300 feet of subject property with a list of those owners attached. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2116.
Thank you. I see Mr. Rehnquist on the Zoom connection with us. And I understand that, Mr. Rehnquist, you do not have an additional presentation, but rather are appearing this evening to address any questions by the board. Is that correct, sir?
Correct.
Thank you. The floor is open for inquiry of Mr. Rehnquist regarding this project. Alderman Fauci. You're on mute, ma'am. You're still on mute.
Mute.
There you go.
Okay, it gave me a notice that the host of the meeting will not allow you to unmute yourself. So somebody there had to unmute me.
Okay.
Not by way of questioning, but in the same vein, I wanted to let everyone know for purposes of the record that Planning and Zoning has reviewed this project. It did pass unanimously. I also noted in the packet that while I have not spoken to the direct neighbor is the trustee in the neighborhood and did send a letter of support regarding this project.
Thank you, ma'am. That sort of background information and reports regarding neighbors' interests is very, very helpful and much appreciated. Further inquiry of our applicant's representative. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, do you have any public comments regarding this project?
No, sir, none were submitted for this item either.
Thank you. I declare the public hearing closed. Next item on our agenda is the appointments. And I'm very, very proud to seek the board's support this evening for the appointment of Debbie Rushing from Ward 2 to the Community Arts and Culture Commission. Her qualifications for this position are outstanding. And we're very fortunate that she came forward to volunteer for this important role. I have communicated with the commission chair through our city clerk and understand that she supports my nomination that was announced 2 weeks or at our last meeting 3 weeks ago. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Hughes
Second.
moves approval, seconded by Alderman Mortland. Discussion. See Alderman Hughes.
I had a very nice discussion with her, and I think she will be a wonderful addition to the commission.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you stepping forward like that and reaching out to Ms. Rushing. I share your opinion. Further, any inquiry, further debate regarding the motion? Seeing none, all of the opinion that motion should prevail, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any of the contrary opinion, nay? The ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. We're on the topic of communications and reports, and I have the great honor to, Alderman Hughes was seeking recognition.
No, go ahead, Mayor. It's fine.
No, thank you.
I'll wait.
I have the great honor to sign and issue 2 proclamations, and I'd like to read them with your indulgence in full. I think they are that important. The first one is as follows. Whereas the Honorable John Benegas first served as Alderman of Ward 4 from 2005 to 2009 and was re-elected again in 2011 and serves to this day. Whereas John Benegas was unanimously elected to serve as President of the Board of Aldermen for 2 terms, once in 2015 and again in 2020. Whereas during his term in office with the City of Town and Country, John Benegas chaired many commissions and task forces, including the Police Commission, Conservation Commission, the Tree Board, the Benefits and Insurance Commission, the Green Team, the 2008 Deer Task Force, which I say, sir, was a Herculean effort that has been a significant contribution to this city. I'm now off script, but I felt that recognition is much deserved. That was not an easy job to bring a community together around an opinion or an issue where people had very sincere and deeply held opinions, and he brought them together and developed a program that I think has put us in a good place. And as you all know, he is also chair of the Architectural Review Board and has been for some time. Whereas John Benegas also served on a significant number of aldermanic subcommittees, most recently the Natural Resources Task Force that made meaningful revisions to the municipal code in the spirit of preservation, and the Commission Task Force that reviewed the structure and functionality of the city's established recommending bodies. Whereas as chairman of the Architectural Review Board for the last 7 years, John Benegas has been primarily focused on preserving the character and beauty of the community by expanding architectural review requirements for residential additions and accessory structures. considering the neighborhood preservation initiatives, and also cultivating an environment of open discussion and considerable input during the review process. I'm going to go off script again because that body didn't exist before Alderman Benegas and I and others came into office. And it materially advanced our community's consideration of these important issues. Not everyone was happy every time, but everyone felt that they had direct input into the process and were treated fairly. And that was our objective in setting it up. And he has led that body for a long time, and I appreciate it. Whereas John Benegas has served in all of his various roles with a commitment to fostering sustainability, which was best seen during his work with the Green Team Commission, the Community Garden, and his leadership in adopting solar energy system regulations. Whereas John Benegas has unapologetically defended the importance of transparency by offering countless motions to continue agenda items for additional public input. I thought you'd like that one. Now, therefore, be it known that the mayor and the board of aldermen of the city of Town and Country do hereby extend, on behalf of the residents of our community, our deepest thanks and sincere appreciation to John Benegas for his many years of dedicated public service to the city of Town and Country as Ward 4 alderman. In testimony whereof, I have hereto set my hand and cause to be affixed the great seal of the city of Town and Country this 12th day of April, 2021. Congratulations, sir. Thank you for your service, and thank you for being my friend.
Thank you, Mayor.
I also have the great privilege of reading this next proclamation, and I mean that as sincerely as I can state it. Because whereas Tiffany Frautschi has honorably served the community for 3 years as alderman of Ward 2 since 2015 and as acting president of the board for 1 term in 2019. Whereas while in office with the city of Town and Country, Tiffany Frautschi served as chairman of the Public Works Commission from 2015 to 2017, during which time the neighborhood preservation initiatives, numerous stormwater projects, and professional services selection for Clayton and Ballas intersection improvements were undertaken. Whereas Tiffany Frautschi also served as chairman of the Police, Fire, and EMS Commission from 2017 to 2019, which included work on the subcommittee for contract negotiations with West County Fire and EMS. Going off script. She knows, I know, and this entire Board of Aldermen knows that is one of the most important arrangements we have in this city. And her diligence and thoughtful research and participation in analysis of our current and potential options going forward have served this city well. Whereas Tiffany Frautschi co-chaired the Topping Road Task Force that considered significant roadway and pedestrian improvements from 2018 to 2019, and was also a member of the most recent Commission Task Force, which reviewed the structure and functionality of the city's established recommending bodies. Whereas during her tenure as liaison to the Planning and Zoning Commission from 2019 to 2021, Tiffany Frautschi devoted substantial time and attention to the review and consideration of the 2020 comprehensive plan and the overhaul of the city's sign and fence codes. There is, in my opinion, there's very few more important functions than that of planning and zoning. And Tiffany does her homework, her analysis, her independent thought on every single project. She's smart, hardworking, and the Planning and Zoning Commission is better by virtue of her service. Whereas Tiffany Frautschi was also instrumental in developing the regulations and municipal code amendments regarding backyard chickens, medical marijuana, exterior lighting, natural resource, and tree preservation and special zoning districts. Those are not easy subjects, and she has been involved in every single one of them and led us well. Whereas in an effort to provide increased transparency, Tiffany Frautschi hosted many Ward 2 forums and gatherings to keep her constituents apprised of city business. Now, therefore, be it known that the mayor and the board of aldermen of the city of Town and Country do hereby extend, on behalf of the residents of our community, our deepest thanks and appreciation to Tiffany Frauchi for her many years of dedicated public service to the city of Town and Country as Ward 2 Alderman. In testimony whereof, I hereto set my hand and cause to be affixed the great seal of the city of Town and Country this 12th day of April, 2021. Congratulations, Alderman Frauchi.
Thank you.
That concludes my reports. Madam Clerk, yes, ma'am.
All right, this is where I'm just going to hijack for just a little bit, if you don't mind. Alderman Venegas, I believe you have something ready to go in your capacity as acting president. If you're ready, if you could go on that now, that'd be awesome.
Okay, thank you. I'll go off script from the top and maybe not go off script when I have something to read. But Mayor, this is a proclamation to you from the board. And I just want to make a few comments. We've worked together for a very long time and have not agreed on everything, but maintained a friendship and respect for each other that superseded whatever the issues were. And that's been a pleasure to engage in. Some of the aldermen may not remember what Town and Country politics and literally alderman meetings were like. Alderman Hughes, you remember this before the mayor became the mayor, but it was not unusual for there to be considerable unrestrained emotion and rancor in the board meetings, and for the board meetings to go long into the night. And with you coming in as mayor, you changed all that, implemented policies and procedures that allow for everyone to have a voice, but it was done respectfully and with decorum. And you did that consistently and did it well over time. You consistently encouraged there to be unanimity as much as possible among the issues, and would extend issues so that the middle ground could be achieved, whether it be with a resident or even among the board. Many of the times to my chagrin, in that I would say, let's just have a vote, but you would push it, and more often than not, the middle ground was achieved. So working with you has been a pleasure. I've never seen anybody run a meeting better than you. I've learned a tremendous amount from you in that regard. And in my opinion, you've been a great mayor, not only for me, but to the city and to the board in Town and Country. So with that, I'd just like to read this proclamation from the board, Mayor. Whereas John Dalton was first elected to the Town and Country Board of Aldermen to serve the residents of Ward 1 in 2004, went on to be elected mayor in 2005, and has served faithfully as mayor, being reelected by the residents for an unprecedented 4 terms, making him the longest serving mayor in the history of the city. And whereas Mayor Dalton has committed himself to the mission of the city and the preservation of Town and Country as one of the premier residential communities in the state of Missouri. And whereas Mayor Dalton, through the enhancement of our city's volunteer commission structure, created a variety of task forces and special commissions that resulted in valuable resident input on many complex issues that have faced our city during his tenure. And whereas Mayor Dalton has consistently endeavored to improve communications with all residents by personally attending hundreds of neighborhood subdivision meetings. I have to go off script here. I'm sorry, Mayor, but at probably every one of those meetings, the mayor would say, I have the best job in the city, and here is my cell phone number, and would give it out. So he wasn't opposed to hearing from citizens, but he hosted many community coffees and prioritizing the enhancement of the city's sense of community by bringing an increased emphasis to programs such as the annual Arbor Day festivities, Fire and Ice, and Fall Festival. And whereas under Mayor Dalton's leadership, the community came together for many noteworthy accomplishments, a few of which include: 1, implementation of Town and Country's Architectural Review Board, establishing a system of criteria and standards against which applicants may objectively measure development projects. 2, appointment of Natural Resource Preservation Commission dedicated to protecting our natural resources and keeping the country in Town and Country. 3, increasing the minimum financial reserve level of 50% and obtaining the coveted Standards & Poor's AAA rating while maintaining a 0 property tax level rate. 4, worked cooperatively with West County EMS and Fire Protection District to provide continued quality contractual services. 5, revitalizing and redevelopment of the Longview Farm Park House, a crown jewel in our city's park system, in addition to the preservation of the historic log cabins at Drace Park. 6, approval of the Town and Country Crossing development, providing many quality dining and retail establishments. And 7, completion of the massive infrastructure projects, including the beloved Clayton Road pedestrian trail throughout the city. Now, therefore, be it known that the Board of Aldermen of the City of Town and Country do hereby extend on behalf of the residents of our community our deepest thanks and sincere appreciation to John Dalton for his many years of dedicated public service to the City of Town and Country as mayor. In testimony whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the great seal of the City of Town and Country this 12th day of April 2021. John Benegas. Congratulations, Mayor.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm just gonna keep you off script. If you have comments to make, you go right ahead and let me know. But otherwise, I'll just keep this train trucking. So you tell me.
Madam Clerk, I learned a long time ago never to question or doubt you, and it has served me well thus far. I'm not going to start this evening. But I see some friends here joining me, so I'm going to mask up and see what they're up to.
That is next on our agenda, the special guests that are funneling in, and I can see them on our screen. So take it away, former Alderman.
Yes,
Do I get to stand or do I?
please stand, John.
I'm not standing next to him. He's a little bit taller than I am.
You need to squeeze in. John, myself as a former alderman, former mayor, and Alderman Lynn Wright, and Alderman Fred Malin Smith, and Alderman John Benegas, who's on that television right there, we want to give you something special. This is a lot shorter than the proclamation you just heard. It is a crystal plaque that reads, honoring Mayor John Dalton. The residents of Town and Country deeply appreciate your 16 years of leadership. You have always held our city's best interests foremost, and Town and Country is an even better place because of you. And it has the Town and Country logo on it. But we wanted to give that. Now, you can put this on your desk, you can put it on a shelf, or you can just put it in a closet. But we wanted you to have this in our appreciation for your years of service. I'm going to give it to you. And I think these two people want to say something also.
Just very short. John, we have to make the record clear that you are now the longest serving elected official. You have been Alderman Benegas, myself, and Alderman Malin Smith. You have surpassed our years, and we appreciate everything you've done for the city.
Thank you.
John, always beware of 3 wise men bearing gifts, although some of the people viewing tonight may dispute the term wise. Seriously, we have served together for 14 years, and you have served this city with distinction. Your leadership is deeply appreciated, and Town and Country is an even much better place because of John Dalton. Thank you, as I said, for your leadership, and thank you, sir, for your friendship. All the very best going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. You're not leaving me. You suggested a few places I may put this. I put it in my heart.
Thank you.
Because it means that much to me to have the 3 of you standing here, the number of people from the current board with us via Zoom, and so many other friends that we've made along the way. This is a big deal to me, and I cannot thank you enough. And it's not the words on here, it's the spirit at which it was given, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It's been our pleasure.
Team effort, and it's been good.
I think Chief Cavins is probably making his way up to the dais at this point.
So you have some more surprises.
We just partners up here, don't we?
And
Partner, don't
we take them, even though you
Exactly.
carry a badge and a sidearm.
On behalf of the men and women of the Town and Country Police Department, I present to you this plaque, which reads Mayor Jonathan F. Dalton, City of Town and Country, Missouri, 2005 to 2021. In sincere gratitude for your 16 years of dedication, commitment, leadership, and outstanding support to the women and men of the Town and Country Police Department, presented this 12th day of April, 2021. Thank you for all you do for us, and thank you for your support, sir, and Godspeed to your future.
Thank you very much,
Sir.
There is, you don't get, there's nothing more important in this town than what you do, who you lead, and how you take care of our residents. The least of which I can do is support that 110%. I always have, I always will, and the fact since you've been here, you have taken that department, which was already world-renowned, and raised the bar even higher. Thank you. Please extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the men and women of our police. They are the best in the business. They are. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And then hopefully Bob's on his way.
Got some
Mayor, on behalf of the city staff and the Board of Aldermen, we wanted to present you with this large token of our appreciation in honor of all of the accomplishments. This doesn't even begin to explain it, but we wanted you to have something that would show a little remembrance of all your time here with the City of Town and Country. It will come as nobody's surprise. City Clerk Ashley McNamara was the mastermind and put it all together, but we really do want to, for all the staff and the Board of Aldermen who all presented items to be included in this memory box. So we appreciate your support over the years.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are you going to tell me when it's my turn?
It's your turn. That's it.
Your turn.
I'm going to pull this back over. I'm going to let Mr. Shelton get back to his Zoom terminal. And then I've got a few things to say. And hopefully I can hold myself together during them. There he is. He's back on the screen. Serving this community as its mayor is one of the greatest honors of my life. It's one of the greatest honors of my life for 3 or 4 very clear reasons. And I want to thank each of those elements that gave me this great distinction and honor. First, the community. They're the ones that gave me this opportunity to serve and the opportunity to work extensively to make Town and Country an even better place. It was pretty good when I got here. I think it's come a long way since, and it has a very, very bright future. Every encounter with a resident has been productive and done in an effort to move our collective interests forward. From door-to-door campaigning to community events And the very generous proclamation that Alderman Benegas read listed a few of those events. They were all pleasurable experiences and terrific exchanges. Thank you to the entire community of Town and Country for giving me this great honor. I have an ask. Please get involved and please stay involved. You will never regret it. This is good stuff. And reach out, find our city clerk, find Mr. Shelton, find your alderperson, and get involved. It takes the entire community to do the things we've done, and you'll find it a very rewarding experience. I know I have. Second, to the elected officials, my colleagues. I can't describe the sense of collegiality that we developed as a collective group of elected officials leading this city. Thank you for your passion, your perspective, and most importantly, your trust in me. Your work ethic and commitment is a true asset to this community. Please continue the collaborative spirit in which we have functioned for some time. As a team, we simply couldn't fail. Everyone on this board, those that have served before and those that will follow us, knows that we don't please everybody every time. Sincere motivation. Those 8-0 votes that Alderman Benegas mentioned, as he indicated in the proclamation, they didn't come about easily. We started with diverse opinions and perspectives. That's what makes us better. Our diversity, our pasts, our plans for the future make us better. But sitting down and working through issues collectively make Town and Country better. And I appreciate the spirit in which we have worked together. Congratulations to the new alderpersons and the relatively new alderpersons, which includes most of the board. I think that sort of turnover is spectacular. And the fresh perspectives that the newly elected alderpersons, the newly elected mayor bring will serve us all well for generations to come. You've earned your constituents' trust. And based on what I've seen, they made good decisions. Finally, to the professionals at City Hall. Some people refer to them as staff. I don't. They are professionals. They are the best in the business. They are highly educated and very good at what they do. We function as a team at City Hall. And as a result of that functionality, we've come to actually enjoy one another's time, talents, and become very good friends. I'm going to start listing a few. I know I will miss some, but it's not because I'm not thinking about them and haven't thought about them for a long time. Bob Shelton, Ashley McNamara, Chief Cavens, Pam Wrights. These people are spectacular. They're smarter than I am. They are more sensitive than I am. They have a better vision of where we need to go, and they support us each and every day. Morgan Cuthbert supports me every time that we're on these Zoom calls and in between. She's sitting right in front of me and is always here. And when she's here, I know things will go well. Laura Lowell, Tim Randick, Tom Thousand, Ryan Spencer, Dave Phipps, Neil Cantwell, Ann Nixon and her entire team. If you've been to a Town and Country event, Ann Nixon is the first one there and the last one to leave, and she's got a team of people supporting her along the way. These people make things happen for us. They make things happen for me. Sharon Orlando, Judge Niehoff, Steve Garrett and his law firm is as good as it gets. We are really well represented by the Curtis Hines, Garrett and O'Keefe law firm. Other people think that they might represent them as well. They are lawyers to Town and Country, and they serve us well. My job as mayor has been to set policy, provide leadership, work with the Board of Aldermen, and take one of the greatest places on earth and make it better. The professional's job is everything else. We can think great thoughts, and some of them are pretty good. Some of them ain't so good. But we think great thoughts, and then I turn to Ms. McNamara and say, what do you think? And with a smile, she always is polite, but she takes it and turns it into something. Bob Shelton leads a great team of professionals at City Hall, and they take good care of us. I've written about many of the things that I've considered accomplishments as a community: Town and Country Crossing, the Clayton Road Trail, the Mason Road expansion, the Topping Road connection, Town Square. These things have come about by the vision of the Board of Aldermen, but the implementation of our professionals. And I thank them from the deepest part of my heart. None of these things would have been possible without their hard work every single day. Ashley McNamara. She is the heart and soul of this community. I'm sorry, Bob, but she is. You are our city administrator, and you always will be. Ashley McNamara is the heart and soul of this community. Everyone knows it. She is the knower of all knowledge. She is the sine qua non in my service, and I will greatly miss her and our day-to-day exchanges. Since Mr. Shelton is on mute, I will say to her that there's a law firm in Clayton that would love to talk to you any day. Because if you do for my law firm what you do for this city, we will be an even better service provider to our clients. In the end, I have received much more from this community than I have given. Job satisfaction, professional relationships, accolades for a few things that were done by other people, but I happened to be the mayor at the time. And if I've done anything along the way that makes your life better, then I've considered my service to Town and Country a success. Because that's why you do this job. That's why somebody engages in community service. It is a very high calling, and one for me will be forever remembered as one of the greatest honors of my life. Godspeed, Town and Country. I like your chances for a brilliant future in a very special place. Thank you. No one knew I would be short, but I couldn't help expressing those very sincere opinions and feelings. I meant every word of them. Back to you, Madam Clerk.
I think that's all we've got. If memory serves, I think we're still on communications and reports.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple things of business to get to.
Further reports. Alderman Hughes, you were seeking recognition some time ago before we stole the show and started talking about one another. Some of our friends are departing the council chambers. Thank you for being here.
That's going to be a hard act to follow, Mayor. Okay. With that said, the next meeting of the Arts and Culture, Community Arts and Culture Commission is this Wednesday, April 14th from 6:30 to 7:30 via Zoom. And also I want to remind everyone the commission came up with a survey, an art survey, and we want input from residents to know how to move, to go forward. And so anyway, I'm just reminding everyone, please, please encourage your constituents to complete the survey. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman, and you're right. That is the point I was making about community involvement. We need it. We're a better place because of it. And if Alderman Holman and your newsletter is any example, I like your chances in terms of getting the word out to people. Your publication is spectacular. And I think I know a few things that are going on in our community. I always learn more when I read the Ward 1 newsletter. Thank you for including me on it. Further reports. Alderman Moreland.
I just want to say thank you to Alderman Fauci, Alderman Benegas, Mayor Dalton for your service. Thank you so much. My commission announcement is we have the Fire and EMS Task Force this Thursday, April 15th, tax day at 8 a.m. on Zoom. We also have our 427 Police, Fire and EMS Commission at 4:30 on Zoom. They're both on the website. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you. Further reports. Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce Ways and Means will have a commission meeting Friday, the 30th of April at 8:30. I'd like to also thank you and Alderman Benegas and Alderman Fauci for their great service. It's been enjoyable most of the time. It's Mayor, I've seen you in action in many formats where you've represented our city in mayoral groups and other regional and municipal state groups. And I was always proud that you were my mayor. And you may get a text from me once in a while asking you a question, but I wish you good luck. I know you have great things coming, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman. Now, it means a great deal to me. And to that end, I met with Mayor-elect Ream, and we had a very good discussion. We talked about some past experiences, some continuing priorities, and I told him the same thing I tell you and anybody that's continuing their service of town and country. Don't lose my number. I'm always happy to help. Alderman Whitmire.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on behalf of the Conservation Commission, I too, we all thank you very much, Mayor, and Alderman Benegas and Alderman Fauci for your service. I really appreciate everything that you've done. And in the spirit of public participation, nominate a friend for a Green Thumb Award. We're coming to your city to inspect your gardens, and we'd love to present someone with an award. So if you don't have a garden you're proud of, then point to one of your neighbors and submit their name.
You know, we used to have the garden tour in Town and Country, and after this pandemic is beyond us, maybe we'll bring that back. It was a lot of fun. Further reports. Alderman Weezahan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and yeah, again, just to echo, thank you for your service, and to Alderman Fauci and Alderman Benegas. In addition, next Monday, the Parks and Trails Commission will be meeting at Longview. We have several agenda items that'll be going over that we're hoping to actually go on site and look at. So we'll kind of be walking around the park. So anyone's welcome to attend and see how it goes.
Thank you, sir. Further reports. Alderman Holman.
Thank you, Mayor. The word thank you for your service seems so inadequate for your 16 years, Alderman Benegas' 16 years, and Alderman Fauci's 6 years. And I appreciate all of your talents, time, and energy. And I wish there was a better word I can come up with, but I will just leave it at thank you. And you're very much appreciated. With regard to my commission, the Public Works Commission, we have a meeting next Monday at 4:30, and topics we will be discussing our asphalt and stormwater. If you'd like to join us at 4:30 via Zoom.
Thank you, Alderman. I appreciate that. Thank you says it all. And it's been a labor of love, but hearing appreciation from my colleagues makes it all worthwhile. Thank you. Further discussion, further reports. Further reports. Seeing none, we will move on to unfinished business. Item number 1 on our agenda is Bill 21-13. It's co-sponsored by Alderman Benegas and Alderman Allen. Without objection, would our city clerk please read that bill for the second time?
Bill number 2113 is an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Management Partners for professional audit services and amending the 2021 budget by increasing a general fund expenditure account and appropriating funds to cover the increase.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Alderman Benegas moves approval. Does it gain a second?
I'll second it for the
Alderman Allen
purpose of discussion.
seconds the motion. Discussion. Alderman Benegas first seeking recognition.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, after all these years of being an alderman, something new has happened on my last meeting. In light of the information that was presented earlier regarding this this item, I'd like to have an honest debate with my other aldermen in regard to whether to withdraw this item or not. There are a couple ways of looking at this, and that is that obviously there are a number of our citizens who think that an audit of our department is called for. However, the best information we have available is that these audits take, in an average, 18 months or so to get done. So if it's so important for us to have information about the works of our public works, we need to have that information sooner rather than later. So we can say that we have an audit coming and we may have a report in 18 months or thereabouts based on the best information we have available to us. Or we can do one sooner and get the information and begin to work on those findings somewhat immediately. So I'd just like to have a discussion among the aldermen. Are you in favor of moving forward, or would you like this item actually withdrawn?
Thank you, Alderman Benegas, for the debate. Alderman Fauci.
So I guess I'm unclear about the 18 months. I'm not sure where that number comes from, and maybe that's something we could discuss. In looking at this bill and doing preparation work for it, obviously that preparation work has now changed given tonight's information. But one of the things I did was called the auditor's office and asked if we had our own audit, whether or not that would help the process and whether or not they would utilize that information. And it appears that they would not. So it, from my perspective, I'm not sure that having two audits is going to benefit us in that way. I mean, I guess one thought would be to continue it for 2 weeks and wait until the auditor's office sends the letter so that you would have a start date and a potential information about how long the audit takes. I don't know if that letter will include that information, but certainly I'm uncomfortable with the idea of appropriating additional funds for something that we're already going to have to pay to another entity to do.
Thank you for the debate. Alderman Allen was next seeking recognition.
Thank you, Mayor. And looks like I'm low on energy or on being charged. And if I go out, I'll come back on something else. But yes, I've asked many questions. I've been concerned about the exorbitant cost of what we get from a state audit. I've seen those many times for years. And how that helps us move forward. And my thoughts initially with the performance audit from a private entity could better help us as we move forward in other projects. So we don't end up with what we've had to go through the last year again. And so to me, I think we can always do better. I think, especially when we use city resources. And I know our staff has, they work hard and they've always made good decisions. And I believe a lot of those decisions, well, decisions are made not just by the staff and the aldermen. We've had many commissions, task force, residential groups that have spoken. So when we've had projects in the past that were perceived by some to have gone off kilter, it wasn't just because of any one group or entity. It was the whole, the combination of, and the dynamics of citizens, staff, commissions, the board, the whole bit. So I initially had hoped that a private audit would help us know as we move forward how we can always work better and more smart with our city resources. Unfortunately, I think we got behind the 8 ball and we did not get in front of some of the discussions early enough, but we are where we are. And if the board wanted to proceed with this performance audit, then I believe that there could be a benefit. On the other hand, we don't need to, if those who prepare performance audits would not add anything more, then we don't, and this is a term that Alderman Whitmire has talked about, putting good money after bad money. And I don't know that the state audit will tell us how to do things better. I have seen those. I think they're looking from a different point of view. And that would have been why I would support the performance audit.
Alderman Benegas, you were next seeking recognition. Did your point get covered already, sir?
No, Mayor. To the question as to how long will a state audit take, the research that we've done and the actual delivery of audits that we've seen is 18 months is kind of the average that you can kind of expect. Now, the auditor's office may tell us something different, but the data that's been provided us was that 18 months is kind of a standard average. So what I'm asking the board is that information may be inaccurate. That for that reason, I support Alderman Frauchi's suggestion maybe that we continue this to maybe get better information about that. But with so many people that have signed the petition saying that they think something's amiss, it would seem to me that getting the information sooner rather than later is the best idea for the city. It's in the city's best interest. So if there's any other comment from other board members, I'm willing to move that we continue this for 2 weeks to get additional information that would help with the decision.
Thank you, Alderman Benegas. And I don't believe you're making that motion at this point in time, but I would point out that this project schedule completion date is July 16 of 2021. That's long before the auditor will be even in our community. And if 18 months is beyond what you think it's going to take, let's say it takes a year. We don't even know when they're starting. And so if people, as you say, Alderman Benegas, if people are concerned about operations, management, oversight, functionality, transparency, and all those things regarding projects, this analysis is going to be to our benefit by July 16 of 2021, not a year to 18 months, maybe if the audit gets started on time. Alderman Fauci, you are seeking recognition.
Am I unmuted? Can you, I
Yes,
think,
ma'am.
okay, sorry. This new computer, I can't always tell what I'm doing. So I hear all of those things. I just think that voting to spend money on something before we have the information from the state auditor's office is imprudent. And I think that, I would not be in favor of voting on this tonight in a positive manner without that additional information. And if the information we received tonight is correct and they intend to start this audit at the beginning of summer, if that is in fact the case, that's coming up very quickly. And the question is, would we then have two auditing firms here at the exact same time? And how would that work? Would we have the state auditor's office here reviewing records at the same time we have a private firm? And if that is the case, which one of those two entities has precedent to have those files first? So in other words, if we hire this firm and they come in and they're here while the state auditor is here, will they have anything to do, or will they have to wait until the state audit is finished in order to use those files? I just don't think we have that information. I would assume that the state would have priority, or I don't have that information. So I would not be in favor of voting on this tonight without it.
Thank you. Alderman Whitmire.
So I've been all over the place on this one. And 2 days ago was coming to this meeting saying, this is throwing good money after bad by doing such a thing. But if it is indeed will take, a year to 18 months for the report to be delivered from the state, we need to consider doing something more quickly. So that's a big if. But I would be interested in hearing from Mr. Shelton and maybe Pam or whoever else, the notion of doing these things simultaneously. Forget precedent, who gets what files when, just the mere workload on city staff dealing with two entities. Let's presume that the auditor did show up quickly from the state and that our other team did come in at the same time or were asking for information. Be interested to know if the staff could deal with that.
Thank you, Alderman. Good question. Mr. Shelton, do you have anything you can share with us?
Yes, I appreciate the question, and I agree you would not want two entities at one time on site. So I think we do want to hear from the state auditor exactly what their schedule is, and then we could move from them.
Fair point. Thank you. Alderman Mortland.
Mayor Dalton, if I may address City Administrator Shelton with the question of what's the benefit if we move forward with this if the state audit does take a long time in his eyes as
Mr. Shelton.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Definitely, we could begin to implement any recommendations. And as you saw in the sample report from Management Partners, they are an entity that is familiar with public works. And from my understanding, that's what this resident petition focuses on, public works projects. So it's not to critique finances or process, it's the project management, which is what this company does. So that's where I see the benefit of Management Partners. That's what they specialize in.
Thank you. Alderman Fauci.
So one of the things that I looked at in preparing for tonight's meeting is what the state audit would actually look at. And their audit does not limit to public works at all, nor does it limit to any projects. It's a citywide full audit, including every department. And so I think that's an apples and orange kind of comparison. The state audit, from what I've researched and understand to be true from the auditor's office, they determine the scope of their audit. So despite the fact that the petitioners or petitioner, I guess only one person signs it, though I understand that there was a large group. The petitioners ask for an audit of specific things, but then the state actually determines based on their independent research what they will look at. And so in this case, it is a full city performance audit. So it actually is not an apples to apples comparison looking at those two audits.
No, I agree with you, ma'am, entirely. That we have been interested in looking at our public works department and some of the key projects in that department for a couple of years now. We can always do better. Everyone knows that, and the state auditor is a political office. If anyone thinks that they're going to be done, they're going to be even in here in a short period of time, let alone completing their work in a reasonably short period of time. I think they're mistaken. I could be wrong, but my experience tells me otherwise. This project, as you say, Alderman Fauci, is a completely different proposal. This is us engaging a outside third-party organization that specializes in the areas of concern. The state auditor's office, as I said, is a political office that is bureaucratic in its organization and functionality, and that is a completely different proposition. Further comments? Alderman Wheatham.
Thank you. So before finding out tonight's the information tonight, I had reservations about moving forward. A few weeks ago when I had asked how these topics were addressed, one of the reasons why I asked that the 2019, and if there's an explanation, I'd be happy to hear it, that the 2019 audit be submitted, the proposal be submitted to the board. There was the understanding that we were going with the 2019 audit with the same company to match it, to have the same scope, but the scope is not does not match exactly what the scope from 2019 had items such as preparation for the 2020 comprehensive plan. It had just a different. It had to review the processes. This audit is identifying specific projects to review. And I was not in favor of that process that we went through identifying this firm. Maybe we would have gotten to the same point and picked the same firm, but to just identify this firm without understanding how we got to the point of identifying these topics when it was intended to match the 2019 project.
Alderman Benegas, Alderman Allen, what do you want to do? You want to continue this? What do you want to do?
Yeah, Mayor, thank you to the board for the feedback. I appreciate that. I would make a motion to continue this for 2 weeks to give the board the opportunity to make sure they're making a decision based on good information.
Good. Alderman Benegas moves continuance. Is that motion gaining second? Alderman
I'll
Allen.
second that. Yes.
Thank you. Discussion regarding the continuance motion. Alderman Whitmire.
So let me play the other side for a moment here. The information that I've seen seems to indicate that a year, 18 months is not out of the realm of reason for such a thing to occur. We're going to burn 2 weeks that we could otherwise have a firm deployed doing work. We're saying that this consultant we're considering hiring would come in and be done by the middle of June. Alderman Butler said a moment ago that the state considers being here maybe early summer. So we could, if we move now, we could potentially get this done before they show up. And I'm not saying that we want to get in before them. I'm just saying we get the work done before we expect someone else to come in. If we wait 2 weeks, we're burning 2 weeks on the calendar that we cannot recover. It's a fairly small price to pay for the work that I saw in the illustrative document that we were provided. I'm tempted to say we should stick our neck out tonight and not continue this matter, instead vote on it.
Well, thank you, Alderman Whitmire. Very good remarks. Alderman Benegas.
The motion is out of respect for people who have question about how soon the state audit could be done. And maybe, I don't mean to put him on the spot, but Mayor, if you would acknowledge Alderman Mortland, I think he's done some research in that regard to see what city responses have come from the state auditor's office. And again, the numbers seem to be around 18 months plus the average. So I don't know if Alderman Morton might want to comment on that.
Yeah, Alderman Benegas, anybody that thinks that the state auditor is going to be in here this summer is very optimistic. We are not the only thing on their to-do list. They are a very busy office and have got substantial undertakings already underway. And so hopefully Alderman Mortland does have some insights for us there.
I don't have exact insights, so I can't help you there. I think we're at that 18 months. But I do want to offer a comment that, best practices, going through, we do a financial audit every year. The police department has been accredited. We go through best practices to not only be the best, but continue to look at how we can improve as a city. But as a whole, those are baselines of well-run organizations. And so doing this public works, I feel like beforehand will help our city prepare not only for the audit, but in addition, it's just best practice. And I know it is money out of our citizens and out of our overall budget, but it will help us prepare. And with Topping Road, with other things, maybe we can make some decisions if there are things to consider beforehand. We do financial every year. The police are every few years. And so as we look at that, we've been talking about this for a while. And I do think it makes a lot of sense for us to get ahead of this.
We've been talking about this for a long time, and I think it's about time to bring it to a vote. Alderman Benegas, you've got a continuance motion. Is there further debate on the continuance motion? All of the opinion, that motion, yes, sir.
Mayor, I'm willing to withdraw the motion.
Motion's been withdrawn. Further debate on the underlying bill. Madam Alderman Holman.
So I can still ask questions regarding Bill 2113 as written?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My question is for our city administrator, Mr. Shelton. Have you been in touch with or communication with other municipalities who have gone through a state audit? And if so, do you have any insight for us?
I have, and the feedback I have received is that with one particular city, they did find it necessary to hire additional consulting after the fact to improve their ordinances. They had to hire additional CPA financial assistance and additional legal assistance, again, to make improvements to their processes and their ordinances based on the state auditor's recommendation.
And what was the size of that municipality?
I believe the city is approximately 8,000.
Thank you. Further debate.
Just one other question, Mayor. Thank you for, if you would allow, for Mr. Shelton. As far as the timelines of those audits, do we have any information in that regard?
Please
I
proceed.
did not have an exact timeline on that audit. I did not.
Okay, thank you.
I think the question before us is exactly what Alderman Whitmire said. If we're concerned about these, this department, and Alderman Mortland said the same thing, essentially, that we really have been talking about doing an analysis of the functionality and the performance of our Public Works Department for some time. You can put this off for 2 weeks, give it to a new board, let them start this debate all over, or you can get to work at looking at a department that a lot of people seem to think can use some professional comments and advice and improvements. We all can. We can in many respects And that's why we have, as Alderman Mortland pointed out, a financial audit of our city every year. That's why Chief Cavens leads an audit and analysis of the police department. And he, by the way, the fact that we are certified in the fashion that we are puts us in a rarefied air. And that doesn't happen on its own. It's this sort of self-reflection, self-diligence that makes us even stronger than we are. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Benegus,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Holman,
Aye.
Alderman Hughes,
Nay.
Alderman Whitmire,
Aye.
Alderman Mortland,
Aye.
Alderman Fauci,
Nay.
and Alderman Weezahan.
Nay.
The bill passes 5-3 and becomes ordinance number 4427.
Thank you. We are on item number 2. It's Bill 21-14, co-sponsored by Alderman Weezahan and Alderman Allen. Without objection, our city clerk, please read that bill for the second time.
Bill number 2114 is an ordinance authorizing a professional services agreement with SWT Design for the development of a playground master plan.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Allen moves approval, seconded by Alderman Weezahan. Discussion. Seeing none. Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Whitmire seeking recognition.
And Mr. Mayor, I just had a few questions, probably most appropriate for Ms. Nixon to answer, but I can run through them here just real quickly, and then you can put them wherever you think appropriate.
Thank you, sir.
The first is the document refers to price points for consideration, having 4 different sizes of projects for each of these play structures. I'm wondering, if the baseline cost is fix and repair only, what are the rough order of magnitude differences between those things? Are we talking 1x, 2x, 3x, and 4x, or some smaller percentage of them? Secondly, given that there is no order of magnitude for anything to be done in Town Square, because there is nothing in Town Square today, what is our thinking regarding a baseline spending amount for that area? Third is that the memo asserts that the play surfaces need to be replaced within 3 years for safety reasons. And I ask if a certified expert made this statement, or where did that come from? And then lastly, the work plan shows that we ask residents to participate in February and March. And has this request already been completed, and are those people lined up to help?
Thank you. Ms. Nixon, do you understand the inquiry? And if so, please respond.
I do. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate Alderman Whitmire did ask these questions previously, and so we have had a chance to discuss them via email. So I'm going to refer to my notes a bit. So the first question is about the price points, and for each of the playgrounds, the city will set what price points we want proposals from the playground companies. So we will set what levels. I suggest for the 3 parks that we have a small option, which would be in the $200,000 price range. The city's cost for that project would be $40,000 after the grant. Medium option would be $250,000. The city's cost would be $50,000 after the grant. And a large option, which would be $300,000, the city's cost would be $60,000 after the grant. The second question is the cost for Town Square, and my recommendation there, and the city sets these as well, would be that the small option be a 0 cost option. So it would include ideas such as balance beam logs or other features that we could accomplish in-house. A middle option around $10,000, and the city's cost would be $2,000 after a grant. And a large option at $20,000, and the city's cost will be $4,000 after the grant. I'll just keep rolling here unless you stop me. Question number 3 is the question regarding the safety parameters and the recommendation for that it needs to be replaced in 3 years. The industry standard for pour in place surfaces is 10 years and up to 11 to 15 years with excellent maintenance. And the sources for those guiding sort of timeframes are game time and all-inclusive recreation, and then also NRPA, which is the National Recreation and Parks Association. Our playgrounds were built between 2000 and 2003. So they're 18 to 21 years old. So my basis for that recommendation is the 3-year time frame. Is my recommendation based on the expected surface lifespan, the condition of the current surfacing, and also the grant cycle process. Part of the playground master plan will include evaluation of the playground surfaces by a CPSI, which is a certified Parks and Recreation, by a certified safety inspector. And then lastly, the question about asking residents to participate. We have begun that process primarily through the Parks and Recreation Commission, and then also preparing for the board's approval of this ordinance. And so we have a full list of items ready to go if the board approves the playground master plan, including Notify Me is ready for rollout to residents, posters to be posted at each playground, flyers for Alderman newsletters and trustee emails. Parks and Recreation, or the Parks and Trails Commission will have a booth at the May concert to collect emails and put the word out. The notification board will be utilized for public meetings and included in the Parks and Recreation newsletter, as well as Notify Me emails through our website. I think that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Nixon. Alderman Whitmire has a follow-on question.
Actually, I wanted to speak to the motion if I could, Mr. Mayor.
Please proceed.
So, you know, I appreciate your comments, Ms. Nixon, and I think the need is there. These numbers are appropriate. I support this motion with the proviso that these similar numbers are followed as we move forward and that we don't move in a different direction materially.
Thank you. Further debate? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Weezahan.
Aye.
Alderman Moreland.
Aye.
Alderman Whitmire.
Aye.
Alderman Holman.
Aye.
Alderman Fauci.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
And Alderman Benegis.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4428.
Thank you. We're now on the topic of new business. It's item number 3 on our agenda, bill number 21-15, sponsored by Alderman Weezahan. Without objection, would City Clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2115 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a pool located at 13715 Bellcrest Court in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. And before I continue that, Alderman Fauci, you were going to comment at this point in the agenda. Your remarks were entered into the public record during the public hearing. Do you have anything in addition, or do you want to stand by those comments?
I think Alderman Whitmire had asked about comments made at Planning and Zoning. I'll say that though there were For this particular topic, 3 primary areas that were considered. One was the retaining wall. The second was the landscaping and whether or not it provided great enough buffer for the neighboring property. And the third was drainage. All of those things were satisfactorily answered within planning and zoning. The unanimous vote to approve the project took place. And as I previously mentioned, the neighboring property has reviewed the plans and are very satisfied with them and the landscaping and what have you. And the retaining wall will actually face my driveway, and I'm good with it.
Thank you. Very, very helpful. Alderman Whitmire.
So one follow-up question, Mayor, was wondering if the P&Z discussed drainage. I think this area is, yeah, okay.
And they have met the city's
Alderman
requirements.
Crouch seeking recognition, I believe.
Yes. And they've met the city's requirements, and all of those requirements were satisfactory. They have a system in place to handle the pool water.
Thank you. Further debate on the bill on first reading? Seeing none. Bill 21-15 will be continued to the meeting of Monday, April 26th for a second reading and consideration. Item number 4 on our agenda is Bill 21-16. It is also sponsored by Alderman Weezahan. And without objection, would City Clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2116 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a detached garage pool house located at 13659 Mason Heights Road in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. And before I continue that, as suggested by Alderman Whitmire, Alderman Fauci, would you please comment on the matter to capture those observations from planning and zoning into the record?
Sure. So this particular item didn't receive a considerable amount of discussion. It falls within the city's allowed buildings and falls within the area where they are allowed to build on the site. Many on the board are new and so will not know some of the historical issues that have taken place on this property, although not under this current ownership. Previously, this property did have a spa that was built in the back in the basically the preservation area. That spa was removed, as was a retaining wall, and that was relocated. However, this structure falls completely within the buildable space. I know there may be some questions from some of you regarding the front-facing garage. That was something that we saw in Ward 1 at another property, and there were a number of questions, and of course that project failed. I think the big difference, and something that you can all note, is that this particular garage is behind the primary structure, and so although facing the street, it actually faces the back of the current structure. So it is a different situation than that one. So if any questions arise regarding that, certainly understandable, but it is different from a code perspective, and it does meet all of our current requirements.
Thank you. Very helpful. Alderman Whitmire.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was wondering if the neighbor to the north was consulted. I didn't see that in the documentation.
Alderman Fauci, do you have an opinion on that?
Is that the neighbor, the behind property or the side?
With the lake?
Okay. So I did not see anything in there, but he would have received a letter, and he is someone who reaches out whenever he has concerns. So I have not spoken with him regarding this project. However, I also did not hear from him, and he is somebody who normally would reach out if there were a concern. This house is also, this particular portion of the property is also downhill from that property. So I think there is an elevation difference. So I'm not really sure how much that will actually be visible because of the elevation difference.
Good exchange. Bill 21-16 is continued the meeting of Monday, April 26th for a second reading and consideration. We're now on our warrant list. It's in the amount of $228,723.30. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So
Alderman
moved.
Allen moves approval. Is it getting second? Seconded by Alderman Mortland. Discussion? Alderman Allen, please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Ms. Nixon about the Longview sweet gum trees and the prep and the pruning. I believe this was for the tree climbing activity. And in the past, I've been told that all of our city programs that are require sign up and a fee, that unless the fees cover the cost, then the programs don't happen. So I am wondering if for this climbing program, is the cost of this pruning of the trees for climbing, is this included? Because we would not be incurring this cost if it weren't for the program. It sounds like.
Would you please respond to the Alderman's question?
That's correct. The tree pruning is included in the cost recovery and the pricing of the classes.
So it will be covered, and thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Good question. Thank you for the response. Alderman Hughes is seeking recognition.
I have a question for Mr. Shelton. Okay.
Please proceed.
My usual question is when we have dead deer, I don't need to know the exact address, but I just want to know, was it in a residential area or on a main thoroughfare? And in your update, you indicate that there was a dead deer on Clayton Road. Where were the other two located?
So, Alderwoman Hughes, these were prior, and they're just now submitting the bill.
Oh.
So those would have been indicated in my Friday update.
Oh,
Those are
okay.
real time when I give it to you in the update. By the time it hits the invoice, it's
okay. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Whitmire.
Just had one question, Mr. Mayor, and that was around the Burns and McDonald charges, and how do we know that that's a competitively bid project?
Is that you, Mr. Shelton?
I'd be glad to answer that. The board may or may not be aware, and Mr. Garrett can certainly step in, that the state law prohibits competitive bidding price-wise for engineering services. However, the staff, Mr. Randick, does have engineering firms that we go to, those that are qualified, and we obtain pricing per project. And then that recommendation goes to the Public Works Commission for their recommendation, including the price.
Thank you. Further inquiry? Seeing none, all of the opinion of the motion should prevail. Please signify by saying aye.
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 Any of the contrary opinion, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. For the last time in my service to this city, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
moved.
So moved.
Does that motion gain a second?
Second.
It does. All in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those to the contrary opinion, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. They have put my gavel in a shadow box, so I can't bang it on the table, but congratulations to the new board, and best wishes to everybody. Please stay safe and stay in touch.
It's
All
been
the
a
best.
pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All of you. Thank